my name is Tntosion and welcome to Beastmoon. Beastmoon only comes out every 2 weeks, so if it is on, take advantage of it. So there are two versions of Beastmoon. There's a Beastmoon Hunt and then there's a Beastmoon Mayhem. So that's PvP or PvE. And so if you only prefer one of them, it only comes out once a month. So definitely take advantage of when your favorite event comes out. And you will need to learn the difference between those two because you're going to have to change your strategy when playing those different types of events. So the first tip that I'll have to give you guys is to know which forms are available. So I'm assuming you guys are beginners, which means you will only have access to the forms that are available on the event, and every event the beginner forms changes, so you would have to know which forms are available that you can even play. And you can either do that from looking at the pedestal or going in the game and then seeing which statues are sparkling and then like figuring out how to play the form like that. But that's like the worst way to learn how to play because you're not learning how to play, you're like just selecting whatever cards and praying that you're doing a good move. So that's the worst way. The best way to figure out which forms are available is to go to the pedestal and then you flick through like the menu and then you see upgrade level, and if it says upgrade level, then that's the type of form that is available, and then you can see which cards there are so that you can see what strategy you're going to do. And it's not necessarily the strategy, but basically it's knowing what cards you're going to use and what cards you're going to discard. Which leads me to tip number 2, which is to know what cards you're going to be discarding, because you are going to be discarding every single round because Beastmoon is strategy based. You only have like 400 or 300 health if you're playing a miniature form. That means you're going to be discarding a lot because you're going to die early, right? If you're going to die early, you need to utilize your cards effectively, and that is because when you play Beastmoon, you notice that you only have 3 cards that you can even use. So instead of 7 card space, you only have 3, and as your forms, there are bad cards and there are good cards. Basically, Beastmoon is like, say if you're a storm wizard and then like you can't really choose which cards you're gonna put in your deck. So you're just gonna have like a bunch of like lightning bats, thunder snakes, krakens, or like sharks. You know, there's low pip spells, but you know, if you have like 4 pips, you don't want to continuously using a thunder snake, right? You clearly have better options, so you're going to be discarding those worse cards for better cards to use. So it's just situational based on the amount of pips that you have, and then discarding to find what cards you need because you're going to die very quickly. And to know which cards you need and which cards you're going to be discarding, basically 95% of like 99% of the time, just discard the AoE. So that is the 4 pip and 5 pip spells or 6 pip spells. That is way too many pips. Keep in mind, like, in order to use those AoEs, you need to gain pips, and in order to gain pips, you are going to sacrifice your player dying, your teammate dying, because you're waiting so many rounds trying to cast an AoE. So the only AoEs that people usually go for is if you're a storm elf or a tier 5 storm elf, which you aren't a beginner then, so I don't know why you're here, or a tier 3 mythrat. So again, tiering up your forms, which as a beginner you can't really do that because you need the resources to do that, and you need to be planting your Beastmoon seeds. So yes, discard the AoEs. First round, you're discarding like your 0 pip spells because you start with 2 pips or 3 pips. Why would you need 0 pip spells right at the bat? You don't. You only need them when you use all of your pips on a good spell, which is usually your 2 pip hit or your 3 pip hit. So like for example, the Life Fairy, its main hit is a 3 pip hit that is 225 flat damage. You have 2 pips that you can hold, but when you get into the battle, you have 3 pips, so you can immediately use your Seraph. But if you didn't pull your Seraph, you're going to discard your 2 other cards, use the 1 card that you got, like say if you got like an imp, you use it, you're back to 3 pips, and then you can cast a Seraph next round if you're still alive. That's how you should be discarding. And in Mayhem, you don't want heals, you don't want shields, you don't want dots, you want flat damage hits, and you want to hit. For Beastmoon Hunt, you want to get rid of a opponent first round, so again you need to find a hit, but then you need to try to survive, okay? So then you're like, those are when you shield, those are when you heal, because there's two different game modes. Beastmoon Hunt, you're trying to survive. Beastmoon Mayhem is you're trying to kill as fast as possible. You don't really care about dying because you have a teammate that hopefully knows how to play their form correctly and discard correctly, and if you're playing correctly, you won't die. Literally, that is 99% of Beastmoon. Discard in order to find what cards you need, and in order to know what cards you need, look at your form, see what cards are your best cards to use. If there's no best cards, choose a different form, because there are sucky forms and there are better forms. So that leads to my third point. The tip 3 is recognize that there are better forms. So even if there's like a free form that are available, other people might have different schools of that form. So for example, if a Storm Rat is available in Beastmoon Mayhem, but in Beastmoon Mayhem, the strategy is to go for a low pip AoE, which is only 2 cases. You're a Storm Elf or a Myth Rat, right? But you can't play, if someone needs a Myth Rat, you can't play as a rat. There can't be 2 rats, so you need to give the other person the Myth Rat, and you need to choose to play a different form in order to help the team, because Beastmoon is a team based where we're in it together. We want to win, right? If someone has a better form than you, then you have to give it to them, and you need to learn how to play a different form. As well as tiering can improve your form. There are some forms that tiering is absolutely pointless. Tier 1 Storm Rat, if it is a free form, it's not very good to play because you only have 3 attacks. You can only use 3 attacks. It's pointless. You're left to just stun and dispel. You can only do 125 damage 3 times, and that's it. It's not really going to be that helpful compared to someone with a tier 3 Storm Rat that can do 100 damage, 125 damage, and a 200 card damage. So recognize that other people may have better forms, and if they do, then you should give them their forms. But also you should recognize which forms are good. The croc forms are really good, and the pig forms are really good. Also the minotaurs as well. And that's pretty much it with the beginners. And then the advanced players play like the elf, the rat. So you need to determine yourself which ones are good. If you want to ask me which forms are good, I stream on Twitch. If you can catch me live playing Beastmoon there, I can give you the answer. Tip 4 is purchasing the right treasure cards. So in order to purchase treasure cards, you need the Beastmoon coins, and you collect them from the Beastmoon chests around the map. Or what I recommend doing is to plant your Beastmoon seeds, and you always get them like whenever you use like treasure cards outside of Beastmoon, or like you're harvesting your plants and you get special event points, and then you always get that those regular Beastmoon seeds. They basically, you can harvest them in 30 minutes, I believe. If you go in and out of your house, it grows, and then after 30 minutes, that regular Beastmoon seed it's elder, it's ready to harvest. That's a really easy way to get the Beastmoon coins. What I mean by purchasing the right treasure cards is that, you know how like that penalty, there's this card, the penalty free card, 9 out of 10 times you don't ever use them. The right cards are the cards that you're going to be using. So like the Life Fairy example, I am trying to find a Seraph in my deck because that's my main hit. So I'm going to purchase a Seraph or the Fire Pig. My main hit is a 200 Brimstone Revenant, so I will purchase a Brimstone Revenant. If you're like a Storm Croc, your main hit is a 200 2-pip Shark, so you buy that card so that you can find the card easily with more copies. Tip number 5 is to familiar yourself with the map. So basically at the end of the match, you have the option to exit out when you lose or win the game. But before you exit, I recommend you to walk around the map, swim around the map or whatever, and familiar yourself how to get to star, moon, sun, and eye quickly, and how to utilize the teleporters to get to those areas quickly, and also how to get back to spawn in case you need to refill your treasure cards. Yeah,